Going on, Z Warriors? Do you smell what Hercule's cooking? It's the champ. Hercule is here, and I'm going to be talking about Hercule and the new Black Style Mastery. So Hercule is very unique in the sense that like all his stuff has a mix of flavor. It also has a lot of weird kind of contingencies in terms of like his power levels and everything like that. It's like a lot of weird stuff going on with Hercule, but it's awesome to see like a personality that really like embodies the flavor of the character of the show. So we're just gonna get right into the new Black Style Mastery. It's called Black Conflict Mastery, as well as the Hercule stack in his name cards. So let's get into it. New mastery is called Black Conflict Mastery. It has a constant where it says your attacks that deal at least 4 life cards of damage are considered to deal critical damage. Power: discard a card from your hand. If that card was styled, your MP gains 6 stages, or you may raise or lower a player's anger 1 level. So right off the bat, we already see that since Devious is being frozen, we needed a mastery obviously with like another discard outlet because Perceptive doesn't do that. It mills from the top of your deck. So cards like Black Declaration, I think like Black Jab, a lot of like some black style cards that like have effects when discarded from your hand during combat. Black Corruption, another card like that, would basically be useless if we didn't have a mastery that couldn't have a discard outlet in combat or something. So I knew that the Black Style Mastery would have something like that. I just wasn't sure to what effect. So now that we see it, it's clearly unique. Before it had the buff with Devious. Now anything that does at least 4 or less is considered. Sorry, at least 4 is going to be considered to deal critical damage, which is huge because a lot of black style cards like Defensive Burst, like Lunge if you like it at low AT, stuff like that. The fact that it can deal critical damage is really unique because now people might even play maybe some ball variant where they might play like all 7 balls and just have cards that hit for that threshold, so that way if it hits they can deal critical damage. It's really good because the fact that it deals critical damage, it's good for cards to get rid of attached cards. So I know a lot of players who might get like a black capture on them or a wall break or anything that really attaches to them, and it says you need to deal critical damage. Now it's probably a lot easier to do instead of trying to hope for your opponent to not have endurance when you deal 5 or more life cards of damage. The power where it says discard a card from your hand. That's the only part that kind of worries me a bit, only because you don't get the replacement. You don't like the new blue mastery. You're going -1. It's kind of rough because you got to think if the card in your hand is better than just playing. I guess it all depends what the situation is. But again, if you're holding, let's say like a knee block, would you want to discard a knee block to gain 6 stages or raise your anger 1? Where you can just hold it, and if your opponent attacks, you can just gain a 2 anger or something like that, which could potentially level you up and you gain 10 stages. So it's definitely a card that, sorry, a power that, yeah, if you're unless you're playing like Declaration or some cards that says like if this card is discarded during combat, get X effect or place it into play, then I could see it being worth it. But as for like discarding like an attack or a block, again, if the block is useless, I mean, sorry, if the attack is useless, like you have no stages to perform it or something like that, then I can see it. I don't think the raising anger um, is all that really. I don't think it's really nothing. I mean, there's only 1, and that's not really cutting it. It's not like blue where they have a lot of cards that manipulate your opponent's anger. So I don't really see the benefit of like in this mastery where it has that you may raise or lower player's anger. I know Perceptive does it as well. I think I can't remember Perceptive like the total effects because I never really cared for that mastery at all. But I'm just really interested to see what kind of comes out of it. I mean, gaining the 6 stages is definitely a plus for like MPs like Android 18, maybe 19 to some degree, or something like focus on energy beats or something like that. Then I can probably see it. Or even if the discard doesn't really hurt you, like if you have an MP like the new Goku 1 or even God Goku where you get an extra card, so you're not really losing out on being minus where you have like 3 cards to your opponent's 4, and now you are on par with your opponent's hand size, then I can probably see it. But I don't know what people are going to make of it. I mean, Roshi would definitely benefit a lot from it for the fact that gaining 6 stages because it's always at A would help a lot to play cards like um, Pesky Barrage if they played, or Capture, or something like that. So now the new MP that we have for that being paired with it is Hercule. So he's funny because right now he's the only like I would say not personality, but like personality stack that actually no, that's not true because Wheel has a power up rating of 1. Never mind. But you know, for the hero anyway, he has a power up rating of 1, and it's funny because your life deck cannot include cards that perform an energy attacks, which makes sense because you know he doesn't have key, he can't do any of that stuff, so it totally makes sense, like the flavor of it. So I really enjoyed that. And it has a constant where your attacks deal plus 100 stages of damage. Your attacks cannot have their damage modified by your card effect. So it basically cancels it out. It's just there again because Hercule thinks he's the strongest. He thinks he's just so great. But when it comes down to it, when push comes to shove, he's just a total weakling. He's just a fraud. Now he also has a power as a physical attack. Your MP gains 5 stages. Search your life deck for Hercule's dynamic kick and place it into your hand. Damage 1 stage. So as you can see, even his power level stacks, like they all range in various levels. It's pretty funny how it all works out. But you know, you might think, okay, well, 1 stage, it's nothing. But the fact that he gained 5 stages, honestly, if Hercule was able to perform energy attacks, I think it would be totally ridiculous because of all the stage gaining that, you know, with the Black Style Mastery that he's paired with his power, with Dynamic Kick, which we'll go over later, like a lot of things to gain stages, plus like Finger Block and Black Dismissal. Black has a lot of also gain stage cards like in combat. So I'm glad that they kind of had that stipulation on there. But you might think, okay, 1 stage is like whatever, can't modify it. But the fact that you can search for a dynamic kick and place it into your hand. So we'll go over the other stacks, sorry, the other levels, and then we'll talk about his name cards. His level 2 is it's called Hercule Posing, so he has a power rating of 2. And constant, your name cards cannot have their damage modified by your card effects. Your opponent's attacks deal -3 stages and -3 life cards of damage. You can't use the effects of constant drills. Power is a physical attack. Search your life deck for Hercule's dynamic kick and place it into your hand. Damage is 2 stages. So we see a little buff right there. And the fact that it's -3 is really big because you can pair that with Namek Dragon Ball 6. So all your opponent's attacks are dealing -5 stages of damage, which is really big, and you know really helps a lot because you know with dynamic kick you'll see it allows you to gain stages, so it's going to be really hard to really like knock Hercule down. Even though one attack can probably like drain him down, depending on like what MP. The fact that everything is like -5 is, if you have a Namek Dragon Ball 6, is really big. So even though his attack does 2 stages, it's a little poke damage that kind of adds up because of dynamic kick. Now his level 3 his power rating of 3, Hercule Guarded. Your opponent cannot use effects that lower your MP 1 or more levels. Constant, your anger cannot be lowered by critical damage effects. All your attacks deal +1 stage of damage. Your damage modifiers are doubled. Your name cards cannot have their damage modified and gain hit. Raise your anger 1 level. So as you can see, a lot of this is dealing with like the name cards and everything like that. So all of that would be more clear. But the fact that all your attacks deal +2 stages of damage is always helpful. So again, in like maybe like Ruthless Hercule or something like that, you know, you double strike it's 4 stages, and then you gain anger. You know, it's pretty beefy. So the fact that also your anger cannot be lowered by critical damage effects is also huge. So it allows you to kind of speed up to 4, and they can't use like Bold 2 or anything like that to lower you down. So that's always helpful. And last but not least, Hercule level 4 in action, power rating of 4. Constant, your attacks deal +2 life cards of damage. Whenever you use a name card, destroy the top card of your opponent's life deck and lower each player's anger 1 level. So this is really cute because now we see that all the previous levels you couldn't modify your name cards or named your name cards, but now all your attacks do +2 life cards, so even his name card. So as you can see, Hercule really revolves around his name card, which we'll get into right now. Hercule's dynamic kick, which is pretty much the engine. If this card is discarded, destroyed, and or banished from your life deck, place it at the bottom of your life deck. Physical attack, this attack cannot be stopped. Your MP gains 2 stages. Damage 1 stage. Hit, this attack stays in play to be used a second, third, and fourth time this combat. Shuffle into your life deck after use. That's insane. That is ridiculous. Now, it does 4 stages because it cannot be stopped, right? So it's going to be doing 4 stages of damage, and then you gain 8 stages. So again, for the lower levels, you know, it might not seem like it's that big of a deal, but once you get to like level 4 or something like that, you know, you can see that it really adds up. And even level 3, it allows you to gain 4 anger because if it hits, raise your anger 1 level, and then you use it again, and again. So I think a lot of people are downplaying Hercule because they probably seen like he is weird, like all his stuff is just really really off. Like I don't know how to really build him, but I think Hercule has a lot of potential, especially in a certain type of deck. So we've seen all the masteries that Hercule can be played in because Red was released today. So I'm still probably gonna try Hercule if anything, and probably like a Ruthless Hercule, which would be cool because all the anger you can probably gain, all the attacks and stuff like that. It can actually really be a physical beatdown deck for the most dynamic kick, which does 4 stages because it can't be stopped. And not to mention that you have Ruthless, which you're able to just add more stages and plus his power. So like it's all the little stuff that really can add into the long run. It might not seem a lot because like 1 stage here, but over the course it can add up. And the fact that you can also gain anger with a lot of the red cards and stuff like that. So he also has another name card, which is Hercule's Grand Entrance. So it's power. Use after your opponent performs an attack, search your life deck, or discard power for an ally and place it in play 5 stages above 0. Until the end of next combat, that ally can make actions regardless of your MP's power stage. So right off the bat, that's insane just because it's an interaction that we never really seen before where, you play it after your opponent performs an attack. So you can have that ally just take the stage damage or whatever the case may be. And the ally that gets paired with Hercule is Jimmy Firecracker. So if your MP is Hercule, you may use this power regardless of your MP's power stage. Power stops a physical or energy attack. Shuffle this card into your life deck after use. So again, Hercule is an MP that's just really, really fun to play with. People might not say like he's competitive, but I think he has, like I said, really a lot of potential. And what I mean by that is the fact that, yeah, you can't play energy for him. So he's probably mainly going to be a like survival beatdown deck if anything. But you can pair that with like a really good mastery, and you can see a lot of promise. The fact that he's a hero allows him to use Playful Punch, so even more stage gain, and Pesky Barrage. Oh, sorry, not Pesky Barrage because of an energy attack, but Playful Punch just to gain the stages and stuff like that, or Heroic Jab. A lot of cool things. I know. I'm really excited to really try him out and see what happens, just because he really seems like a survival kind of MP because of the fact that a lot of his attacks gain you stages, and like his level 2 is -3/-3 modifier. Like I said, combine it with Ball 6 plus Jimmy Firecracker to take some stage damage, plus to also block an attack. You can really see some kind of um, Hercule deck that might take people by surprise. I'm not going to sleep on Hercule at all for sure. Hercule is definitely an MP that I'm, you know, I wouldn't say like worried about, but he's not someone I'm just going to completely write off for. What do you guys think about Hercule? You guys think he's just a gimmick? He's a total fool. I mean, you see this guy in the show and he's just like all over the place thinking he's the best, the champion, the world's champ, the people's champ. And, as you can see, in the show, it's not the case, but, in the card game, it's completely different. So what do you guys think? You guys think Hercule is actually viable? You think just by looking at his MP stack that he's actually going to be competitive? Again, we don't know because all of the new set hasn't been released yet, but based on what we've seen so far, again, I think we might see some promise with Hercule. So I'm going to try him out in Ruthless, even maybe Adept, with all the added stage damage. Like I said, a lot of things are possible with Hercule. So it depends again how you kind of uh, build it and how you play it. A lot of people talking about like the Dragon Ball variants and stuff like that, where you just play all 7 Dragon Balls and you don't play the Dragon Balls, but like if you ever get one life deck, you potentially like never deck out in a sense because when you take damage, the Dragon Balls will turn over, and then the only thing left would be the dynamic hits, which would cycle through, but they'll go at the bottom of your deck. So I'm seeing how I want to see how that all kind of plays out, and how do you like really like kill a deck like that. It's probably going to really be annoying, and for a lot of people to go into time and just be like, oh, I don't feel like dealing with Hercule. Can imagine like the Hercule Roshi matchup, how that might play out. Like I said, I'm just really excited to see what Hercule brings to the table, and someone that I really wouldn't want to underestimate for sure. So and with his grand entrance event card, it says get an ally, so it doesn't have to be Jimmy Firecracker. You can make maybe some tag team ally deck with Hercule. Who knows? But he shows a lot of avenues that you can really go into where it doesn't have to be a certain way. If you want to maybe go a physical beatdown way, you can do that with like Ruthless or Adept or something like that. If you want to go like an ally route. Talking about Hercule again, we're just seeing that with his level 1. even though it says your life deck cannot include cards that perform energy attacks, so that also I would assume mean allies as well. So you could even make it maybe like some kind of I would say anti-meta, but you know you have Korin, you have Kami, Yajirobe, like uh, MPs that have like constant effects like Gohan and things like that, where you know you can try and slow the opponent down. So I can see some kind of you know, Hercule ally deck using the Grand Entrance card for sure. And, you know, it's really interesting to see what avenues Hercule might take. So, hope you guys enjoyed my segment of the new Black Style Mastery as well as the discussion about Hercule. So, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Remember to give this a thumbs up. And until next time, I'll see you guys around. Mr. Waffles signing out.